What an interesting topic, this one. And I'm somebody, I hate making decisions. The worst thing you can do is give me a menu this big and I can't choose what I want. I hate choices. But we're talking about decision fatigue. I fear I'm at that point. What exactly is it?
Well, I'm sure you have experienced this when you get to the end of a day and you go, if I have to make one more decision, I'm going to ... And that really is, symbolic of the fact that we've got to the end of our mental capacity to make another decision. And some days we have way more decisions to make than others. But Harvard University has sent out some research stats that we make 33,000 to 35,000 decisions every single day.
Amazing.
Now, these include the small ones, like, what are you going to wear today? Now, you and I did the Steve Jobs thing today. We're wearing black, and that's one decision that you could automate and only wear a specific thing every single day, which is why uniforms work. Takes away that little bit of stress. And then it's, what are we going to cook for dinner tonight? And then there are big decisions like, where are we going to send our kids to school? Or should I accept this job offer? And so these things are weighing on our mind, and every decision we make takes a little bit more of that mental energy. And so we are justifiably very tired at the end of a day.
And I mean, then we have to do it all over again the next day. You've got to get there all over again.
Absolutely. So we need to learn how to manage this situation better so that we're not left depleted.
Well, let's look at how this actually impacts our life and our quality of life, and what aspects of our life this decision fatigue actually impacts.
Yeah, so when we have decision fatigue, we are tired, we get irritable, we might be a little more anxious, and we may be more impulsive in the way we make our decisions. So last night I was driving home quite late in the afternoon, coming to early evening. It was dusk, it was raining, and I got to a traffic light, and you can see people are making mistakes in terms of their timing. You know, that is decision fatigue. Let's look at how people are with their children at the end of the day. That's often when we make bad parenting decisions, when we are very kind of flying, off the cuff with our children and maybe saying things we shouldn't say. And if you look at when couples have arguments, it's mostly at the end of the day, going into the evening, because you're reactive at that point. You're not responsive. You're fed up. Absolutely.
So is there a better time of day, or are there certain times of day to be making certain decisions?
Absolutely. So there's the story about you don't want to be on the operating table last thing in the afternoon. You'd rather be a morning case.
Oh, okay.
If there's a big decision being made in court with regard to you, you would rather it be heard in the morning than the afternoon. If you had to pick when to write tests and exams, it would be the morning slot, not the afternoon slot. And then as an individual, if you have a lot of decisions to make, you should try and prioritize the difficult ones early in the day when your mental energy is up and your clarity of thought is up, rather than at the end of the day when you're tired.
And I mean, in terms of, you spoke of children and what is happening there, what is the downside? What are some of the examples you can give us of that bad decision making, whether we say, okay, it's fine, you can go game for an hour when you know they shouldn't? What's the impact of that?
Well, the impact is that maybe the entire routine is thrown for the day. Everybody is going to bed later than they should. And of course, the knock-on effect of lack of sleep is that when we wake up the next day, we have low mental energy before we even begin. So if you are in a job where you have critical decisions to make, actually sleep is one of the things that you need to prize above everything else. Then you should be simplifying your routine, like deciding to do the Steve Jobs thing and wear black. Okay, so that takes a decision off the plate. Keep your brain well hydrated and well nourished. That means drinking a lot of water, not coffee, not sugary drinks. Drink a lot of water and have small portions regularly throughout the day to eat. Because the thing is, when we're hungry And when we're thirsty and when we're tired, it's a perfect storm.
Yeah.
And that's when we're going to say things we shouldn't. We're going to make bad decisions. Interestingly, the brain is made up of about 80% water. So the first organ to dehydrate is actually the brain. And the brain is what you need for making good decisions.
See, it makes sense. It's not just that we're trying to be healthy. It's about actually being able to make good decisions when they say get your 8 glasses in.
Yeah.
And big decisions like things like buying a house, or if somebody's deciding to buy a car. I don't know, people tend to kind of, oh, let me, sleep on it. Let me make that. Should those decisions also be made very early, or,
those are decisions you've probably been thinking about for a while. You don't go out and immediately buy a car.
Yeah.
You do some pre-shopping online. You go and test drive a few cars. Those things I think you have cogitated over. But I think it's those very emotional decisions that are going to have a long impact, like where do I send my children to school?
Yeah.
Because we are spoiled for choice. Where you are spoiled for choice, where you have more options, you have to weigh things up more. And so when it comes to having that weighty decision to make, or maybe you've got a number of them to make, in order to avoid decision fatigue, I like to be really practical. We take a piece of paper and we fold it in half lengthways. And you write on the left-hand side, decision, and you write on the right-hand side, action.
Okay.
In other words, what I want you to do, say on a Sunday, thinking about the week ahead, is download all the big decisions you know of that you're going to have to consider and make in the following week. So you list them, and then next to them, you write down what action can I take around making this decision or to help me make the decision. Maybe you need to go and do some research. Ask somebody an opinion. Maybe you just need to make some time, quiet time, to contemplate the decision because you've been so busy, you haven't been able to sit with it. If you can't write down any action next to the decision, leave it blank. Go on to the next one and fill in as much as you can and then put it away. And what I find is the brain is rather remarkable. We underestimate how powerful it really is. It will do a lot of the work for you if you give it direction. And by clearing the clutter of decisions and choices from your head down to a piece of paper, you're decluttering the mind, you're taking away some of the energy wasting, and you're giving your brain clear instructions that I need to solve for this. And it will do so. And when you come back to that piece of paper where you couldn't write some action next to it, you probably will find you're very easily able to fill in the gaps. And then maybe where you've already written down what you have to do, you can tick, tick, tick down all of that. Okay, so what's the decision going to be?
I've already started to make my mental list. I've divided the paper already in my head. So that's excellent. What about things like relationship decisions or decisions about work or retirement or changing jobs? Again, you need solitude, you need time to make those things.
I think in those situations, what makes it easier to make a decision is when you get clear about what's important to you. Do you have perhaps 3 lenses, value lenses that you need to look through to make that decision? I mean, it may be, for example, simplification of your life. It may be that you want to consolidate. Maybe you've got too many things going on and you need to consolidate. When it comes to relationships, what's important to you? Is security important to you? Is financial security important to you? Is respect important to you? What are your top, say, 3 values in terms of a relationship? So maybe you're considering this new partner and you might want to say, well, I value financial independence. Am I financially independent? Is he financially independent? I don't want to be involved with someone who's got children. I mean, that's going to be a tick box or a lens. And I think if you get really clear about those things,
Honest with yourself.
honest with yourself, that you want to be in a relationship with someone who respects you no matter what, whether you're feeling powerful today or feeling weak today, no matter how much or how little you earn. You know, those are things we have to consider. So for every decision, there's going to be a different checklist that applies.
So just to wrap up for us then, Nikki, so that we don't get to that point where we are mentally sort of fatigued and depleted from making decisions, just some sort of hacks, some top tips from your side.
So I think the important thing is to list your decisions that you're contemplating. Secondly, make as many of the big decisions early on in the day. Don't leave them till the end of the day. If you need to get advice, get advice. And remember that sleep is going to be vital. And then one last thing on a lighter note. I think that we need to accept that there is a time and a place for taking a break from making decisions. And that's why we love binge watching series on TV. And as a young mum, my half hour in the day was when I stopped at 5 or 5:30 in the afternoon and I watched Days of Our Lives or The Bold and the Beautiful.
Mindless TV, we call it.
Mindless TV, because it was so predictable that I didn't have to make any assumptions or problem solve it. I knew what was going to happen. And I called that my moment of brain death.
I love it. I love it. And of course, water the brain.
And water.
That brain so you
water
make the
your
right
brain.
Decision. Drink that water.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and any liquid of your choice, but a healthy one.
Yes, and if you want to know more about what we're talking about, just hop on to nikkibush.com and pop in decision fatigue, and a whole lot of information will come up for you.
Fantastic, Nikki. Thanks so much.
Thank you.